All right, so today we are going to use what is called a variable parameter. So up until this point in Inventor, we've always typed in numbers when we dimension things. Today we're going to use letters, variables, just like you would in algebra. So what that means is that when we scale something, we can scale certain parts of our model together, but other parts of it not. So here I have a heart. And let's say I wanted to make a mural on a wall, and I wanted to make a bunch of different size hearts, but I want them all to be the same thickness. So I want all my hearts to be 1/4 of an inch thick, but I don't want them all to be the same size. I want some of them to be little and some of them to be big. So instead of having to redesign the whole thing, I can actually create a variable, which right now is set at 1 inch. You can see my heart looks like at 1 inch. But I could make that smaller by typing 1/2 inch, and you can see that heart got smaller, but it's still the same thickness. And I could make the heart bigger. So this allows us to easily scale parts of our model without scaling the whole thing. So to do this, we're going to start by making a new project or a new standard part. Please make sure that if you were in metric for our last one, that you come back up here to the English and you are in standard. Make sure you're not in metric, not metric. And then we hit create. So before we can actually design anything, we actually have to go in and enter that parameter. So we're going to go to the Manage tab, and we're going to click on the Parameters table. And right now it's empty because I haven't drawn anything, so there's no distances for Inventor to remember. But I am going to go ahead and set up that variable, and I'm going to use the lowercase letter d. It's really important you use the same case throughout, because Inventor will consider lowercase d and uppercase d to be two separate things. So make sure that you're consistent. And then as soon as I do, if I click over here, it'll automatically enter a dimension of 1 inch. And that's fine for us for now. You can change this at any point in time, but what we're saying is that anytime I type the letter D, I'm referring to 1 inch. And then all I have to do is hit done. Now I'm going to go back into the 3D model tab, and I'm going to start creating my heart in a sketch, just like I would anything else. So let's come up here to our XY plane. And I'm going to start by creating a circle on the origin. And when I do, instead of typing a number, I'm going to type the lowercase letter d. And when I do, it'll draw a 1 inch circle because that's what I defined d to be. Over here, a little bit further out, I'm going to create another one. I'm also going to make it lowercase d. And then I'm going to make sure I apply a horizontal constraint between the center of this circle and the center of that circle. Next, I'm going to dimension the distance between them. So I want there to be, if I wanted the distance here to be 3/4 of d, what I'm going to do is I'm going to type, and then the star key, which is Shift 8, and then 0.75. That would make it 3/4 of whatever d is. In this case, 3/4 of an inch, 0.75. All right, so that's going to make the top part of our heart. Then I'm going to make a point down here. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it for now, and then I'm going to dimension the distance to that point. So this will be where our the sides of our heart come to. So I'm first going to dimension from the point to the edge of the circle, and I want this to be half of d, because I only want it to come halfway through the first circle. So that'll be d divided by, which is slash key, that's next to the shift key, or between the shift and the period key on your keyboard, and then d divided by 2. And then I also want to dimension the distance between the point and this point. I want to dimension that height. And we want this to be times 1.5. Okay, this point right here is where my lines are going to connect. So I'm just going to start somewhere on my heart, and I'm going to draw from my line, or from the edge of my heart to that point, and then I'm going to draw again up here. And then what I'm going to do is apply some tangent constraints. Tangent constraint. And then to make this a heart, I'm going to trim out the parts of the circle. Oops, I'm still in tangent constraint. Trim out the parts of the circle there. I don't need that, I don't need that, and I don't need that. So there, I have a heart. Perfect. All right, so I'm going to finish this sketch. And now when I extrude it, I'm not going to use D because I always want my heart to be 1/4 of an inch thick. So 0.25, oops, 25, there we go. And so my heart will always be 1/4 of an inch thick. So you are going to create 2 screenshots. One showing your heart here. So this would be where D is 1. So go ahead and open up your snipping tool, make a new snip. Make sure you get this. So that'll be your first snip. Save that and submit it. But then also to show me that you followed the instructions, you need to come back into your Manage tab, go to Parameters, and then skip all of this stuff. These were all the ones that you created while you were making the drawing, and you don't have to worry about that. That bottom one, though, go ahead and make it a different number. I don't care what number. You can make it 0.5, you could make it 2, whatever. Type in any number that you would like there. I'm going to type in 1/2, and then you can see my heart shrank, but it's still 1/4 of an inch thick. And then I would go ahead and I would submit this screenshot as well. So this shows me that you were able to use the parameter table. So that's it. Thanks so much.